What's up, everybody? This is MDP here to do another video. This video is going to be called Dricus Du Plessis now has a real claim to being the best pound for pound fighter in the UFC. I know some of y'all probably are like, man, what? You must be tripping. How is Dricus Du Plessis the number one pound for pound fighter in the UFC? Well, I'm going to explain that to y'all in this video. Y'all should know by now that when it come to my UFC videos, there's nobody that can talk UFC like I can. So I'm gonna explain to y'all how Dricus Du Plessis is now probably the best fighter in the UFC pound for pound currently. Now the fighters are so good right now that there's like the space between them is paper thin, and like honestly, the pound for pound like the current pound for pound can change almost every month, every pay per view. Things are so close. But I'm gonna give y'all my full top 10 pound for pound list by the end of the video. My entire top 10 pound for pound fighters in the UFC right now. But the first thing I'm going to do is explain to y'all who can't be the pound for pound, the number one pound for pound fighter in the UFC for me, for my list. Uh, Bilal Muhammad, Merab Devashvili, and Alexander Pantoja can't be number one on my list because they don't finish anybody. You got to be a finisher to be number one for me. Now, I know that Pantoja just got their finish against the guy who wasn't even in the UFC. I don't know where they got. They brought a guy from another organization, and he gets finished in the second round. Now, he wasn't finishing none of the UFC guys, so that should tell you all you need to know about that. But so those guys are out. So who's uh who's after them? Let's start with John Jones. Now, John Jones was the light heavyweight champion. His last two fights at light heavyweight weren't that great. He takes some years off, comes back as a heavyweight, beats Cyril Gahn for the heavyweight title. That fight looked a little flukish, but he's the only guy that's ever submitted Cyril Gahn. So, I got to give him props. That was impressive. And then he defends against Stipe, who never deserved a title shot. Shouldn't have. Stipe was done, hadn't fought in years, didn't deserve a title shot. He goes in there, styles on Stipe, beats his tail off the bone. you know, but the thing is, Stipe should have never got a title shot. I don't care what he did years ago. We in the right now. He didn't do anything to deserve that title shot, when it happened. So if John Jones would have fought like Tom Aspinall and unified the titles, beat him impressively, then I believe John Jones would have a very serious claim to the best pound for pound fighter. But he didn't do that, so he don't have that claim. Next, the next guy who can't be pound for pound, in my opinion, is Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev won the title from Charles Oliveira. He's defended it 4 times. Let's take a look at his title defenses. I talked about this in my video, where I talked about, dang, I can't even think of the dude's name. Y'all know, man, I can't even, Max Holloway should get the title shot. I talked about this in that video, but I'm going to rehash it. Islam Makhachev. He defended his title, his very first title defense was against a featherweight. The featherweight champ, Alexander Volkanovski, taking nothing away from Volk. He won that fight by the skin of his teeth. Very, 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 very close fight. But that was his first title defense. Second title defense was supposed to be against Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira gets his eye cut 11 days before the fight, pulls out of the fight. Volk takes a rematch with Islam on 11 days' notice, gets knocked out in the first round. Another featherweight, 11 days notice. Then, next defense, Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier never deserved a shot at the title. Same thing as Stipe. Should have never got a shot at the title. But he did. And actually, Dustin gave him a tough fight. But he ends up getting finished. Dustin gets finished. And that was his third title defense. Fourth title defense. Arman Sarukian pulls out of the fight day before the fight. Renato Moicano takes the fight 1 day notice, gets finished first round, submitted. So what I'm trying to say here is that Islam has never defended his title against a true lightweight deserving contender who had a full count. Not one of his defenses have been that. Not one. So for me, he can't be top pound for pound either. So that leaves us with three fighters: Dricus Du Plessis, Ilia Topuria, and Alex Pereira. Excuse me. Now, if you look at undefeated fighters, you're looking at Ilia Topuria and Dricus Du Plessis. So if we ruled out Pereira in terms of him not being undefeated, and Dricus and Ilia are, that would put Dricus and Ilia as the top two pound for pound fighters in the UFC. So now let's look at Dricus. He beat Sean Strickland for the title, defended against Izzy, submitted him, and now he just defended against Sean Strickland. And even though he didn't stop Sean, the way he beat him was so impressive that it was almost like being stopped, because he completely shut Sean Strickland down for the whole fight, shut him down the whole fight. Excuse me. And he was throwing heat, power shots, power elbows, power fists, power kicks for 5 rounds straight, and wasn't even tired after the fight. Man, do you know what kind of stamina and endurance it takes to do that? The kind of cardio you gotta have for that? Man, this dude's cardio is up there with Marab's. that is that I can't even explain how crazy that shit is. To be able to throw power shots for 5 rounds straight, and a lot of them, and not get tired. Man, dudes be getting tired after 2 rounds of power shots. Man, Dricus is sick in that regard. So he got two title defenses. Ilya beat Volk for the title, knocked him out, and he defended against Max Holloway, knocked him out. So because Dricus got two title defenses, I'm kind of leaning more towards Dricus being slightly ahead of Ilya. Now, if Ilya defends against Volk, knocks him out, I believe that will put Ilya slightly ahead of Dricus. But as it stands right now, I would have Dricus slightly ahead of Ilya, which would put him in that number one spot, which would make him number one, and Ilya number two, and Pereira number three. Now, I'm going to give y'all my actual list and how I actually have Dricus listed in my top 10 pound for pound fighters list. Number one, I have Alex Pereira, because I feel out of Alex Pereira, Ilia Topuria, and Dricus that Alex got three title defenses and he's knocked all three of them out. Jury, Jamal Hill, and Khalil Roundtree. So I have him slightly ahead of the other two because of that. So he would be number one. Dricus would be number two. Ilya would be number three. Islam Makhachev number four. John Jones number five. That's my top five. Now I'm gonna give y'all my lower five. Bilal Muhammad would come in at number six, because he do got that one finish against Sean Brady. At least he do got that. Marab don't have any, so that I'm aware of. So Marab will come in at number seven. I have Manuel Fiore at number 8. I have John Wei Lee at number 9, and Alexander Pantoja at number 10. So I should talk about Manuel real quick. I have her ahead of Zhang Weili, even though she doesn't have a title, because I believe she is the best female in the UFC right now. I believe she is the best female. I believe she's gonna beat Valentina Shevchenko, take the title, and then she's gonna go up to 135 and take that title. I predict you heard you heard me say it first. I'm telling you that's what's gonna happen. Jean Weili shouldn't get a shot at Valentina. Manuel deserves that shot, and they can give Jean Weili a shot at the winner of that fight. And I can tell you, Jean Weili will not beat Manuel. It's not happening. Nobody. She's just fighting on a completely different level. And like I said, she's the best female in the UFC right now. Um, but anyway, y'all, that's my list. If I had to pick an 11, it would be Tom Aspinall. Number 12 would probably be Valentina. But that's my top 10 list. Um, if you don't agree with my list, please post your list. You don't have to do a whole top 10. You could do a top 5. Who's your top 5 pound for pound fighters in the UFC 1 through 5? Um, I'm going to go ahead and call it a video. Yeah, so, like the video, of course. And please drop your comments. Tell me who you think the best pound for pound fighters. Does Dricus have a legitimate... Dricus said he's one of the top 3. And I totally agree with him on that. Like I said, I just made a case to where how you can see him as the number 1 fighter in the UFC right now. Like I said, the space between them is paper thin. It can change from month to month. These fighters are so close, so good. But anyway, y'all, tell me what y'all think. I would love to hear from y'all. I love hearing from y'all. I love talking to y'all. I don't care if you agree, disagree. Just tell me what you think. And yeah, that'll be cool. I promise I will respond. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I love y'all. Peace.